Hey everyone, I wanted to give you another video. I wanted to do something that I've done here a while back. Actually, it seems like it's been a long while. I wanted to let everybody know about my books. Now, a lot of you know by now that I am a self-published author, and what that is basically somebody who doesn't want to try to find a publisher, because sometimes trying to find a publisher, the right publisher for you, can take up to years and years to do, and it's very expensive. And so some people, like myself, choose to do self-publishing, where you're basically, you're typing up your story, doing whatever it is that you're doing, and you're putting it online, and you're doing your own cover and doing all your own work and the editing and all that yourself. And that's basically what that is. And it's a lot of work, but in the end, it's very fulfilling just knowing that you did that yourself, and you can claim that rather than having somebody else slap their name on there, that they are the ones that publish it, which really there's nothing wrong with publishing, going through a publisher. There's nothing at all wrong with that. But when you're somebody that just feels like they need to do it for themselves, or maybe it's just like a simple book and it's not something that you want to make like worldwide or anything like that, it's just like a family book or something, it's just a nice way to do that without having to get like somebody else's opinion. Because I've heard knowing that when you go through a publisher, like they put their opinion out, well, this isn't right, or maybe you could do this differently. So this is like, it's all you. And of course, if there's any mistakes, then it's your own mistakes, but there's obviously nothing wrong with that. So I wanted to start anyway by telling, I have 4 books out that are actually out to the public now. I actually have 6 out, but one is a family book that has, like birthday poems, anniversary, different stuff like that in it. And it was out to the public for a certain time, but really it shouldn't have been. I really shouldn't have done that. So I took it off the market, so to speak. And another book I have out is a book that I did for a relative of mine for her birthday, and it was done on a different site. I do all of my self-publishing through a site called lulu.com. I'll tell you more about that later. The other site that I went through, though, was Cafe Press, and that's where you can make, like, you can take your pictures and everything and put them on, like, t-shirts and cups and stuff and whatnot, and you can also do books through there, and that's where I did that book at. So it is definitely not on the market. But the 4 that I do have out, though, the first 2 came out in 2006, and then the last 2 I did just came out here last year in 2012, so there's a 6-year span there. I like to wait, because to me, after a while, if you keep putting out book after book after book and you don't give a break, seeing how expensive books are, and a lot of people, don't read like they used to, and I only do paperback and hardback books, so a lot of people aren't into that. Everybody has their nooks and stuff like that. So after a while, I would just about imagine people were like, they just need a break. It's like somebody putting out CDs, after a while you're just like, come on now, I can't keep going back and buying all this. So they put like a few years span in between their work, and that's basically what I did with this. The first book that came out, my baby, is Hazel Eye Smile. And as you can tell, this cover actually is not an original cover. This is a cover that I got through lulu.com. I didn't understand, being the first book, and that I didn't understand how to do up a cover and how to do, to me, just everything. Everything was so brand new to me that I didn't understand that. So I just took a cover that they had, and I never changed it, because there were enough people that bought that I figured it wouldn't be fair to somebody that bought a copy for me to put out a new cover and then have them be like, well, now you kind of feel obligated, like you have to buy that and whatnot. So, but anyway, this is a poetry lyric book, and it's Lulu does very, very awesome work with their books. And as you can see, just it's pretty much a mixture. There's no like divider there. It's just it's lyrics and poems all mixed in together, and of course in my pictures on the back, and a little description, the whole thing. Actually, I wanted to see, and it's funny because well, actually there is a divider. It's not an actual divider though, I don't think. It just goes into, it just goes right into the songs. It's been a while since I pulled this one out. You gotta dust them off every now and again. But that was the first book. And like I said, that came out in 2006. And then comes Sarah's Journey. And It's a novella. You can see I have the name on the spine, which is a really neat option if you don't want that there. I didn't want that to take away from the picture and, of course, in the description on the back. And basically, and I would like to, for me to explain it, it's easier just to read the back. You know, Sarah Peterson, it's about a girl named Sarah Peterson, was just a normal girl living in New York and struggling to have a better life. When a stranger suddenly approaches her and wants to help her, everything changes. She becomes faced with a decision of how to handle her new friend and the way that she feels when she is around him. As time passes by, she will join a band and go through more drama leading up to the big ending that will change everything. And Sarah's journey took an awful long time to come about. And what's funny is this book actually, it's like I didn't even plan on this. I was down at my grandparents' house. They had one of those old desktop computers, and I sat down one day. I was just bored and just started typing. It was in the evening. I started typing, and I typed up like the first 30 pages that evening, and I thought, I kind of looked at that and I thought, I can do something with this. So then from that, I got a binder, and I wrote it out by hand. A lot of the work is actually done by hand, and I took my binder with me, like if we go like downtown or something, I would sit out in the vehicle and write. And I did an awful lot of work with that, and then, typing it up, and then I had help with the editing and that from a few different friends of mine. And it takes an awful lot of work, but in the end, it's worth it. So that's Sarah's journey. That's the only novella I have out right now. I'd actually started working on another one, and I'm having a hard time with it. It's going to be like a romance novel, but I'm having a hard time like with the meat of the story, and there's just an awful lot that goes into it, so I don't know if it'll ever actually come to light or not, but it's definitely something that's out there in the works. My next book, my third book, is called My Apologies, and it's a darker lyric poetry book. Now, as you can tell, like I said, Hazel I Smile was poetry lyrics, and that's basically what it was. There were just a few songs there, but with My Apologies, it's more overcome by lyrics. And yeah, there's a lot of poems in there too, but I wanted to put forth the lyrics that I had written and share those as well, and it just really overtook the book an awful lot. But it's all darker stuff, and I wanted to kind of focus on that because I think there's too many people that, tell you that, well, everything should be light. You should keep it light and nice and stuff. But for me, I feel like the world is not nice and light and all that all the time. It can't be. You need like a balance and everything, a mixture there. And so My Apologies is just my way, of saying, here's the dark side, and basically all on the spine is the name, and then my name there and everything. There's like a big span knowing it's a hardback, and this was my first hardback book. The other two books are not in hardback. I never did them in hardback. It was too expensive to do it that way, and I wanted to try to. A lot of people, and I can't single anybody out because I really don't know anybody particular that does this, but I know that there are people out there that maybe would put their stuff a little bit higher because they know they can get a better revenue. For me, I want to get a revenue off of it, but not to the point that I have to skyrocket it, because to me it's harder for the books to sell if they're too expensive. But then here's the back, and of course the picture again, and then you go from like the front of the book with obviously the tape and everything and the shades and stuff, and then this is just basically a look at me, without that, and then the description. And then you come up to the next book. Now this is the last one, that I did, and like I said, these My Apologies and My True Heart here are books that just came out last year. My Apologies is already, actually a year old and everything. My True Heart isn't up that far yet, Aaron, but it's getting close to its year date, which seems unreal to me. It just seems like time's really flying by, and then, like Hazel I Smile and Sarah's Journey are already 7 years old, and, well, Sarah's Journey will be 7 here in the fall, and it's so weird to me. But My True Heart now is the complete opposite, and this picture was actually taken in our driveway, down at the ditch going down. You got to cross the ditch to get to my grandparents' house because they live you know, just down from us here. There's a house in between us, but they live down from us. And I noticed that the ditch and everything was actually taking on different shapes. And one of the shapes it took on was the shape of a heart, so it wasn't like dug that way or anything. It's just the way the shape it took on. And I thought, you know, this would be a real great idea. And that's where that came about. And My True Heart was not the original name for this book, actually, which is very interesting. I turn around and it's so hard when you're trying to name books because you want them to have a name that's going to be noticed, but you want to have a name that's like personal to you in a way, not just something random out of a hat. The original name was called Enter the Light, and I thought that didn't seem right to me. It just didn't ring true. So then you come up with My True Heart, of course, and of course the picture, you know, and the author, and it gives, you know, the description. But this is the lighter book. And I chose to put the darker book out first just because I don't like to sugarcoat things. And I figure it just, I don't know, it just seemed right to me. And I also was still doing some work on My True Heart. So, but this book is, of course, like I said, the lighter, it's overrun again by lyrics, but yet there's a lot of poetry in there too. And this has all of my Christian pieces, you know, like all the Christian lyrics, all the Christian poetry is in here. And I don't have the copy. Now, our public library has, if anybody is familiar with Emporium, Pennsylvania, the Barbara Moscato Public Library downtown has a copy of all of my books. Now, this book is actually my grandmother's copy because I've done it up, you know, where the bare spots, like, that's the way it was originally done. And then I turned around and I thought, no, because this book is dedicated to my grandmother, Dorothy Logue, and it's also to my other main supporters, during my grandfather, my mother, my great Aunt Ethel, and everything. But I turned around and I wanted to throw in, and I don't know why I didn't change that, actually. It's very weird. But I turned around and I added in that I wanted to dedicate the book to my great-grandma Dorothy, who passed away back here a few years ago. It's actually been, I believe, 2 years now. And I wanted to dedicate that to her and to my dog, Roxanne, who passed away towards the end of next month here. It'll be a year that she had passed. So what I did was I added that dedication in, and then I had enough room in the span that I put one picture on top of the other and everything, so you could see my great-grandma Dorothy and my dog, as a way, you know, to celebrate their life and everything, and to make the dedication, you know, more special. But the letters are really big. You can read it and everything. It's not hard to read. So those are the books, though. Like I said, these are all the books that I have out right now to the public. And you can find all of these. You know, these can be found on Amazon. If you go and you put my name in, Tiffany Simar, S-I-M-A-R, and I know Tiffany's spelled different ways, T-I-F-F-A-N-Y, and I'll put the information down below the video. If you put my name in like Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and even if you put in Hazel I Smile, as far as I know, Hazel I Smile and Sarah's Journey are the only two that you can find on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and different places like that. They're the only two that were done that way. I just haven't gotten around to do it with the other ones because I can't afford it right now. It can get pricey to a point. The only good thing about self-publishing is you can get the book done and that. You don't actually pay for it until you go to buy your copy. So it's free, you know, up until that point. Because you should order a copy before you put it out to the public, obviously, and that. But you go to, and like I said, I'll put the information down below, but it's www.lulu.com/HazelEyesTiffany. And that's my spotlight where all of my books are featured. And I gave the best discounts that I possibly could to make sure that I made a little bit of revenue, because it's really hard, you know, like I said, I didn't want to get, because when you get to where you're doing hardback books, they're very, very expensive. So it's really hard, but I try to give the fair discounts, Aaron, to try to make them affordable to those out there that are interested. Now, I want to state, and I just want to say this just for the record, and I know this is getting long, but I wanted to say My True Heart did not sell any copies. It sold. My grandmother bought her copy because she always buys all my books that come out. And a friend of mine bought a copy. And then I think there was one more friend of mine that bought. But I can't see, for my records. Now, maybe more people bought it and it's not showing up. But it did not sell as good and everything. Like I said, hardly at all. Hardly at all. Compared to My Apologies. So I don't know what the gist is there. I really don't. But I really wish that more people would buy this and give it a chance because it has all those Christian pieces in there. And it just, if you were looking for a light book to read that's easy reading and has just a little bit of everything in it, but is nice and everything and doesn't have, like language and this and that and whatever, it isn't dark like My Apologies is, this is definitely the book for you. If you have any questions, you can contact me, and I could even put that information there. But like I said, I just wanted to share this, and I thank everybody for viewing, and I'm sorry that this is long, but my things are always long, and like I said, I wanted to take time out, so you could see for each book. But I'm going to get going, and I love you guys. God bless you. Mwah.